Sanjiv Bhasin too joins in on the show. And Sanjiv, looking at the global construct, morning firstly, seems like we're headed in for a happy Diwali after all.
Yeah, good morning, Aisha. Well, that's what have been saying, that we are headed for a sparkling Diwali. The cricketers have actually added, the sparkle, and now it's the turn of the stock market. If you recollect from the last 6 months, I've been telling you, inviting you for a meal over to my son's restaurant, and I was telling you what margin Zomato is making. So at 50, 60, it was a no-brainer, and now you're seeing the upgrades. So cheers to Zomato earnings, cheers to the Indian stock market. Indian cricket team, and from today I would expect a sparkling Diwali to be added, the icing on the cake.
Okay, point taken. So that's the latest on the stock markets and definitely in for a glittering Diwali. But Mr. Bhasin, would you concur with that view on SBI as well? It was a decent quarter that they reported. Asset quality is improving. They're talking about a 13 to 14% credit growth rate. But there seems to be some worry around the operating costs and the high employee costs. Your take?
Yeah, good morning. Anisha, if you see the results all over, there has been a slight dip in net interest margins from the large private banks to the PSU banks, which was evident that the cost of money has gone up because of yields. You cannot have the cost of money remain the same even if your liability franchise is working well. I think that is part and course. If the Fed is done with rate hikes and the yields are set it lower, Indian inflation has been rather moderate. I would expect that even if this NIM margin remains like that, credit growth on the book overall is looking very good. Most people will take that the fall in provisioning is added to the color. It's not that. Provisioning is actually coming lower to the most lowest level in 18 quarters, which is telling you that recoveries are very sharp. I was in Amritsar over the weekend, and I met a couple of bankers from State Bank. They said the prerogative from the top management is only recoveries. We are not supposed to sit in office, only recoveries. I cannot tell you how fast this whole game plan of recovery is moving. And kudos to the managements of all the PSUs who are stressing the need for that. So I would definitely use any decline or even yesterday's closing as a buying opportunity in State Bank. I think Bank Nifty is grossly overdone on the pessimism side. That will be the star in the next 1 month.
You briefly highlighted Zomato, Sanjeev. Let's look a little bit further. Is it a good time to buy Zomato even now after that run-up that the stock already saw on Friday? And I'm sure it's going to see a follow-through today too.
Yeah, Aisha, that's a difficult question. At 60 rupees, we have and we own Zomato in a lot of quantity. At one, that new highs, it will be difficult to stay out. But the market is showing you momentum. I would still say add a little of it. And if you want a color in the similar space of QSR, please add Devyani International. That would be one of my Diwali picks. I think arguably Costa Coffee, Pizza Hut and Kentucky are doing extremely well. And Costa Coffee is biting into the market share of Starbucks. So I would really say buy some of Zomato, but please add Devyani International. That can be a dark horse.
Look at the narrative now. Zomato has reported a profit. Delivery has reported a loss. And PB FinTech, even though they've guided for a 1,000 crore profit in FY27, for the quarter gone by, you would say that there was some cyclicality which was at favor. So if I have to really talk about a company which has surprised, well, it's clearly Zomato, hands down. Then I would say it would be PB FinTech because operationally things are looking for them. I guess delivery has not really lived up to what the promise was. And Sanjeev, that I think is a very fair statement that delivery has not kept the delivery going.
Correct. Nikunj, as a disclosure, we also own PB FinTech, and that's our top recommendation. I think PolicyBazaar, the franchise, the technology, the management's commentary, they are talking of very, very bullish circumstances and times over the next 3 years. Insurance is at the tip of the iceberg. I think PB FinTech is a must-have, and quarterly numbers in the next 2 quarters will show a lot of difference. So my bet would be PB FinTech. Like I said, as a disclosure, that is also one of the FinTech stocks which we own. We think that Paytm and Zomato are going to lead the charts. You can add a Devyani International, which we just suggested, but I would put my money on PB FinTech at least for a 50% upside over the next 1 year.
Did very well. I think on Friday was Dr. Lal Path Lab. Now, diagnostic stocks, they went to P multiple of 70, 80, 90 times at peak of COVID. Obviously, because of COVID, India was testing, and along with just an RT-PCR, it was called RT-PCR, right?
Yeah.
Yes, RT-PCR. Yeah, see how we've forgotten what happens. RT-PCR testing, there were other allied tests which were done, and then some of the companies actually had a huge bump up in their earnings. Then came the point of realization, and then numbers, they started dropping, P multiples, they started contracting. But now stability has come back. The so-called adventurous new players in the entire diagnostic space, they've realized that they need to focus on profit, and the existing players have added much more capacity. So these are businesses which are likely to grow not at 40-50% what they were growing at COVID. These are businesses which will grow in 12 to 15%, which is what the historical average is. But the stock did well post numbers. Sanjiv, is it worth revisiting the diagnostic space? Everybody bought diagnostic stocks because of what was happening during COVID. Then these stocks went through cash landing as the COVID profit waned away, and now it's back to reality.
Correct. And in Delhi, you have the AQI, which is actually, unfortunately, adding to woes for people. But I would still go with Apollo Hospital. That has been one of our top pick. Their Apollo Pharmacy, their diagnostic business is expanding very fast, which has actually been a hurter on the earnings. But if you see the presence and the geographical bent of how they are expanding, Nikunj, you will be amazed. Apollo Hospital makes 58,000 per bed per day for a user, and I think they are growing much faster than we thought. Insurance is a very big added supplement to that. So if you had to pay this place, Apollo Hospital is my top pick. Seasonality will play out for the likes of Dr. Lal Pathlab, but as a business, it has a very good future. Only the competition will bite in. So if you wanted to buy some part of it, Apollo fits the bill perfectly.